This is the Other 23 Hours podcast. We're here to bring awareness to and reduce the stigma of addiction through an open dialogue about recovery. Join us this week and every week for new episodes and content.
So I'm just going to start because I'm going to edit it anyway. So focusing on mindset or
keeping your momentum going.
Okay.
So the idea here is that thinking about it, something that I struggle with and have struggled with, and I know that I've heard other friends of mine talk about struggling with this too, is remembering that recovery is at the forefront of what is important. So to me, when I used to hear that, I used to think that, I just had people expected me to always think about my recovery all the time, and that I couldn't build up a life without constantly living in fear of my recovery being jeopardized. And the way that I look at it now is that it's just not being fearful, but just keeping the momentum of recovery going all the time. So it's really easy oftentimes once a person gets sober to start getting, a job back, some friends back, you start getting some money, and life starts getting better.
And that's the momentum.
That's the momentum, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain things that you do, you might go to meetings, you might go hang out with friends, you might start dating, whatever it is, and then, you can kind of feel like recovery can take a back seat to those other things.
Because you feel like you're doing good, or?
Well, because things are going good,
yeah.
And it's not as big of a concern, or you want to put your focus on these other things because they feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And recovery is it feels good too, but it's something that you have to put work into, and you want to be able to enjoy oftentimes I know I wanted to enjoy the nice things in my life. So the way that I look at it now is okay, recovery is the thing that allows all those other things to exist. So recovery is what allows me to keep my job. Recovery is what allows me to be present for important relationships in my life. It allows me to connect with other people. It allows me to be more consistent. So it's not that I am constantly thinking about, what am I, how do I stay away from drugs today? Or how do I not drink? It's just remembering that while things are going well and I'm building up momentum and my life is getting better, that I can't get lax and think, well, now that life is getting better, I can afford to do drugs again or try to go party or something, because the rest of it falls by the wayside if that happens.
Yeah, actually, every once in a while I get, I feel like I have to be very careful about my mindset. It's really important to bring things into my life that would make me feel good. I mean, often you have not good feelings, and then it kind of makes more not good things happen, and then you continue to not feel good. And today was one of those days where I kind of realized that I was just kind of had a slight headache and didn't want to be at work, and kind of felt like I didn't really want to talk to anyone. And so it was slipping into, I have this thing, I call it the fuck it's, and there's just these moments when I'm kind of well, I'm too tired, or I feel like I can't change it, and I think I might not actually say it or even think it, but I think my energy, the energy of what I'm doing, is kind of essentially saying fuck it and being like, well, whatever, come what may, and not taking, I'm getting into the passenger's, seat and letting something else drive my life, but not in a good way. Like I'm like just allowing life to happen to me and essentially becoming a victim of it instead of like actually driving my own life car and making decisions for myself. So
it's a less proactive way of living.
Yeah. So mindset's really important. And I had to listen to a podcast. No, not a podcast. I keep saying that. YouTube. And I'm going to say it. I really like listening to the Abraham Esther Hicks little commentaries. If you are interested in that kind of thing, it's very interesting, kind of spiritual way of looking at things, but it's not at all religious, and you might like it. Try it if you want, and if not, that's totally fine too. Other ways of getting into a good mindset are listening to music, or having a good conversation with someone, or talking about things that interest you, or goals that you have that are going well. Mm-hmm. What else do you do to get into a good mindset?
Sometimes if I'm able to, I'll just go for a quick walk. So I work retail, so oftentimes if I'm in a bit of a funk, I'm able to run next door to grab some coffee, or just, run to the bathroom for 5 minutes and just sit down and kind of try to collect myself and refocus on something else. But it's really situational, so it can be complicated, but oftentimes I think it's worth taking the time to do that if you can in the long run, because shifting that mindset and focus is going to allow you to get through, taking 5 minutes to get through the next couple hours is really worth it as far as investments of your time and energy go. Even though it's not really something that's touted as a priority by a lot of people. Another big part for me of keeping my mindset in a good space once I get there is remembering and looking into what I feel like I'm going to be able to do in the future, what I'm going to be able to accomplish, and kind of trying to keep a sense of purpose about my life and what I'm doing with it. Even if I don't know what it is at the moment, I know that it's moving and trending in a positive direction, and kind of focusing on that long term of things, like I'm working towards something, even if it's nameless, even if I don't know exactly what it is. Things are getting better and I'm working towards something, and that's enough to help keep me in a good mindset, along with, keeping myself balanced, exercising, eating enough and sleeping enough, and spending time with people I care about.
Oh my God, I just want to reiterate, the sleeping enough is a big thing. And then also, once you get into a good mindset, maintaining it however you need to maintain it. If you need to take 5 minutes and meditate, or just call a friend, or I don't know, look on one of the funny pages on Facebook and read some
comics.
Right, exactly. Or make coffee date with a friend for after work, or
tea if you're not a coffee drinker.
Right.
Or go eat some pastries, or whatever you do. Go knitting. Go wild.
But I also really like the idea of thinking about the future, and just realizing that your today self is contributing to your future self. And what does your future self look like? That could be anything. And it's really wild to just eventually be able to let yourself just come up with all, like, let these things just pour into your mind, like what the possibilities are, like saying like, oh, I used to be really interested in playing the guitar, and maybe if I picked that back up, yeah, wow, in a year I might like actually be good at something, or I might play a show, or like just setting little goals for yourself with these like things that you might have used to be interested in, like
Yeah, picking them up. Like, I'll draw little comics every once in a while. They don't look that great, but I know that if I keep doing them, they'll look better and they'll get funnier.
Yeah.
And if not, I enjoy them, so who cares?
Yeah.
That's enough sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really important.
Yeah. So take care of yourself, keep your mind set, and focus on the positive aspects of life, where you're going, and keep that forward momentum.
Keep it going.
The other 23 hours is used for entertainment, informational, and educational purposes only. We are not medical professionals. None of this information should be used to treat or diagnose any illnesses. We are not legal experts and do not offer legal advice. Please consult your local physician or lawyer for your own unique situation.